the last swap event of the semester. We're, by popular request, we're glad to have Coach Gina Conroy back to talk with us about her experience of school life and how to balance between school and life and fitness and health issues that empower you and to do well in school. So let's welcome Coach Conroy. So here I have a short slide reminders. Let me see. So yeah, this one is our swap last event, and I want to say again that we have different sources of funding. One of them is Student Life. We have fundings from them, from that area, and also TCC Foundations, Women's Foundation of Oklahoma and TCC Foundation. So if you have not taken the LASI, which is the assessment, right, and you're heading for next semester, make sure to make an appointment with me to go over your LASI result and see how to improve your learning strategy. Just a quick reminder that some of you are graduating pretty soon from PCC. Don't forget to file for graduation. Usually a semester before, you can file it just by contacting your advisor or any advisors on campus. And one more thing is that we do have the student parents back for rent. So if you're interested to rent any of these, it's available at Northeast Campus, our office AB206. So at the end of the event, Coach Conroy will leave some time for the Q&A for you to ask questions. So the survey link for the students who missed the event will be on our website. Just type in Tulsa Community College SWAP, SWAP, SWAP to listen to the recording and take a survey. So the e-board is going to be updated for this coming semester. And that's all what I'm going to share. All right, so Janica, would you like to briefly introduce Coach Conroy?
Sure. So this is Coach Conroy's second time with us. She was requested by a lot of the members who seen her in, oh, I can't say in person, seen her virtually before and watched several of the watched the recording. So we did invite her back. She, of course, said yes. But she is a certified health coach, author, and a speaker. She's passionate about sharing her trials and triumphs to encourage others in their personal health journey, body, mind, spirit, and finances. So yes, thank you again, Coach Conroy, for coming to visit us. We are so excited to hear you speak, and the floor is yours.
Thank you. Well, I'm excited to be back, and I am going to share my screen now. So I was thinking, so the initial talk that I did was health and wellness begins in the mind, which is very true. And I started thinking, since this is a graduation time, and I was starting to think, what did I learn through my own health journey that I wish that I knew in college? So that's kind of like going to be a mixture of what this talk is. But before we even start that, I just want to really congratulate everybody who is graduating. You know, it's not easy to be a student. It's so much harder to be a parent and a student. And I wanted to just share one of my favorite quotes in honor of you. It's a little video. In honor of everyone who stepped into this arena called parenthood and student, especially at the same time. I did it separately, so I know both are very difficult.
The poorest way to face life is to face it with a sneer. There are many men who feel a kind of twisted pride and cynicism. There are many who confine themselves to criticism of the way others do what they themselves dare not even attempt. There is no more unhealthy being, no man less worthy of respect than he who either really holds or feigns to hold an attitude of sneering disbelief toward all that is great and lofty, whether in achievement or in that noble effort which, even if it fails, comes to second achievement. It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles, or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again. Because there is no effort without error and shortcoming. But who does actually strive to do the deeds? Who knows great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat.
So I just love that quote. But the specific part is the credit belongs to the man or woman who's in the arena. How many times do people like to criticize or tell us what we're doing, whether in our education, our personal lives, or our parenting, what we're doing wrong, but they're not even daring to do the things that we try to do and we try to attempt. So remember that, as you graduate, as you go on to next semester, it's not the critic who counts. It's being in the arena, not the person sitting on the sideline. And even if you fail while you're in the arena, at least you dared greatly. So, that's a whole nother talk right there. And because you have dared greatly by taking on this education, trying to move forward with your life, doing things that so many other people, just gave up on or wouldn't even attempt. I'd like to give one person one of my books. This is a book where it's an amazing book. We had to look at real life people and we wrote about their stories. So things from people from like Hans Christian Andersen, from historical figures to Lucille Ball. I just remember some of the ones I wrote about. Their lives weren't easy, but they dared to dream. And honestly, my writing wasn't the best back then, but I've grown so much and I dared to dream. I dared to put my words down in this book, and I'm going to let, Joy or Jonica do a raffle for whoever wants to win this book. So that's just my gift to you, and they'll give you more information on how to do that. I'm going to just open up the chat a little bit. So I move it out of the window. So I've been thinking about, like I said in the beginning, what I wish they taught me in college. Actually, what I wish they taught me in school. They teach you so many things. And looking back on my own education, I realized it's not necessarily the things that we remember specifically, like in junior high and high school and even college, but even in my adult life, it's just the ability to reason and to think outside the box. Like I'm thinking of biology and chemistry. I don't remember anything about that, but I remember processes. I remember just thinking about the next thing. So that's the value in some of the classes that we're being taught in college. But there's so many things that they don't teach that are so important to life. I was talking to my daughter who's in college right now, and she's like, I wish they would teach tax and accounting. Like, only if you're a business major do you have to take that. It seems so basic. What about parenting? What about emotional health? These are things that they don't teach, but they're all things that we need in life. And I just want to tell you a little bit about my story and how I had to learn the hard way. I didn't learn growing up all these things. So I grew up in a New York typical Italian family where, you know, food was love. And we were very passionate. We weren't, you know, quiet about our emotions. So we loved loudly, but we also argued loudly. And it's very, you know, whatever you see on TV is almost very typical. You know, you fight, you yell, you scream, and then you love each other. We don't hold grudges. But the way I grew up, my dad left when I was 6 years old, and that really threw my mom for a loop. She couldn't, you know, she wasn't emotionally, we didn't deal with things in a healthy emotional way. As you can tell, you know, yelling and screaming and reacting is not healthy, but we did not learn any other way. So that's just, we do what we learn, right? What we're brought up with until we learn a better way. So my dad left when I was 6. Everything was very reactive and emotionally unhealthy, and it wasn't a great way to grow up. So I took all those and food was love, food was comfort. And I took all those bad habits to college. I graduated in 1990, came out in 86 from New York, which was definitely a culture shock. But I took all those, you know, those gained weight in college, dealt with emotionally, you know, college is very emotional when you're out on your own, or even if you have kids and you're parenting. So it didn't always deal with it in a healthy way, and also took it into my marriage and my parenting. So when my oldest, this guy here, was like in second grade, I think it was, I decided to homeschool. Probably something I said I would never ever do, just because I knew that's not something that I thought I could handle, but we decided to because it was the best thing for him. But I was a busy homeschooling mom of 4 and a wife, taking care of the family, and also trying to pursue my dreams. Now, I didn't go to school, but I was pursuing becoming an author. So even though I didn't physically work outside the home, I was doing everything I could to better myself, educating myself without a degree, in other words. The American diet, fast food, French fries, anything that was easy was the go-to. Hamburger helper, even though I was Italian, I knew better, because it was fast, it was cheap, go through the drive-through, feed the kids, and everybody's happy. Needless to say, my health was the last thing I focused on. As parents, we always put ourselves last, even though we need to take care of others. And to do that, we need to be taking care of ourselves. It's just always backwards as caregivers, you know, as parents, as mothers, especially. So I was drained of energy because of what I was feeding my body, because putting bad fuel into your body is not going to help it run. I was exhausted and irritable, and that's not a good combination when you're a parent and you're homeschooling. So I wasn't able to give my family what they needed because I was running on empty all the time. Plus, my marriage wasn't in a good place as well. So that just compounded the stress. Extra weight on my body crept on, and I always hid behind photos, you know, like we all do when we don't want to deal with what's right in front of our face. So when my 20-year marriage ended and I found myself unemployable with a college degree, because I guess it was old, 20-year college degree. I didn't have any life experience. I didn't work outside the home for more than a couple of part-time jobs, or, you know, writing for magazines, local magazines. I was just depressed and fearful of my future, and even more exhausted than ever because I was working part-time jobs, well, with Jonica, and we know how that pay started out, like at $8 an hour. So I was trying to start over, $8 an hour working part-time. So I had to do other things. And that's when I started, you know, my own businesses, first with writing. Health coaching didn't come till much later. So I was exhausted, and life was very uncomfortable, being, you know, single, not having financial security, and, you know, raising kids still. I had 2 still at home. So I found my comfort in food and drink, and I stopped being mindful of my health. and the pounds slowly crept on again, still exhausted and miserable and hopeless, until I finally got to the point where I was feeling exhausted enough that I had to do something, and I had to reach out. And actually I was, so this was like in 2019, when I was working for a magazine called Preview 918, and it was a entertainment magazine. And I met a lady, a lady who had lost 82 pounds. I had to write her story. And as I was listening to her story, I was thinking about myself. I wanted to be her, but I had tried so many times before and I had failed, that I just didn't have the energy to do it again. But in 2020, I decided, you know what? We're not going out. We're just stuck at home. Now's a good time to really focus on my health. And I was ready. And so the catalyst started in 2019 for me to really get serious about what I was doing to my body and my future. Is this picture here. It was at my daughter's graduation. No, actually it was 2020. Yeah, because she was supposed to graduate in May 2020, but because of the pandemic, she didn't graduate till July. And when I saw that picture, I didn't recognize myself. And I didn't hide behind anyone. So I was struck with the reality. I had, this was who I was, and I had to do something about it. So I actually started my health program, my health journey, in August 2020. And it was just a month later where I totally committed. And today, almost 2 years later, I've, lost 25 pounds. I kept the weight off. But what I gained was energy. I gained a skill set to help me during stressful times instead of going to the old habits. And just, it also gave me a new career. I never intended to be a health coach. It's just my friends and family started seeing me lose weight. And I thought, well, might as well help my friends and family and earn a little income. So that's been a blessing as well. But it's definitely giving me more energy to help take care of my family. I have one other son who's in California, living his dream. But now I'm an empty nester. My youngest daughter, she's 19 at school. This one's getting married. This one's at OU, but they still need me for financial aid or, tax help or emotional support. And now I'm responsible for my mom, who has dementia. So dementia runs in our family, and she's doing good, but there's certain things that, a lot of things that she needs my help for. And I would not have been able to have the energy or the time to do what she needs me to do. She doesn't live with me at the moment. I'm in her house taking care of her bills and everything, financially. And she's in a great place right now for her independent living, dancing and having a great time, but she still needs my help. I still have to go over there and take care of her. And if I had to work a 9-to-5 job, I would not be able to be there for my mom. I wouldn't even have the energy to be there for anyone. So that is the importance of taking care of ourselves first. If I didn't commit to taking care of myself, I would not be able to take care of my family. There are a lot of days I'm still exhausted because I have a vision for my future and I'm not there yet. So I'm working towards that future, but I also know how to rest. I know, and I'm going to give you a bunch of tips coming up soon. But my new goal is, because of my mom's history, on my dad's side of the family, there's, heart disease. My mom's side has stroke and dementia. So I'm very aware of that. And I've led pretty much a healthy life, but I know there's so much more that I could do. And so now my goal is optimal health. So I'm in the gym. I actually hired a personal trainer, even though I could do it myself. Sometimes we need help, right? To motivate us, to get me to the next level. I started working out with weights, which I've avoided for 2 years, but I figured, if I want to reach my health goals and be the best I can be and live the longest life possible and be there for my mom, I need to take care of myself. So that's a little bit of my story. You might see your story in my story, and it's a journey. You don't start out healthy if you've lived with bad habits your whole entire life, but you do start out with realizing I want to make a change. And I did want to make a change, but I didn't know how. So I've really, over the last 7 years, I really have been able to transform my mind and my body, and now my finances. And I really believe that in order to transform anything in life, it really starts with your mind. And that's part of what I help coach other people to do. And I really wish they would have taught some of the things I teach in my programs with my coaching. And I'm also going to be putting out personal programs online as well. Like what I'm doing right now, they'll hopefully someday, that's part of my future goal, be able to go online and just download one of these talks anytime you want. So that's also in the works. But there's so many things that I wish they would have taught me in college, and maybe you feel the same way. So the first thing is respond instead of react. Now, I never knew that growing up. I would, and up until I would say 7 years ago, honestly, my life was so stressful and I didn't even know it, going through a childhood and then a 20-year marriage where it was always stressful, and then raising kids on top of that and not having good habits, not really knowing, or maybe knowing knowing what you should do, but not knowing how to do it. Now, there's a whole lot of work you need to go through if you have baggage and things from your past that needs to be healed. Now, I did that and I continue to do that. There's things that keep coming up, but I would have loved to have learned how to respond sooner instead of react. So a lot of times we react to our feelings. It's whatever we feel, and especially the Italians from New York explode or just go by their feelings and they react. Well, feelings are a lot like waves. We can't stop them from coming, but we can choose which ones to surf on. So one of the things that I learned that was transformative was feelings are really just energy. They're not always the truth. You don't always have to believe them, and you don't always have to obey your feelings. So you don't have to accept them. You can notice them, say, that's interesting. Wonder where that's coming from, but you don't have to react to them. You can let them pass right through you. It takes practice, it takes skill, but it is possible because I've been able to do that. Also, this is part from my training. So you'll be seeing a lot of little snapshots of programs that I coach. Our brains are really wired to favor immediate rewards over long-term ones, which means that we have to train ourselves to think differently about the choices that we make. When life got really stressful or uncomfortable for me, I ran to unhealthy things, food. That's the easiest thing. Sitting on the couch, watching TV, eating, drinking, whatever your guilty pleasure is, right? But they didn't serve my goals and what I wanted for life. So they just made me tired and irritable and exhausted. And that didn't help my family or help me for where I wanted to be in life. So I had to learn to replace unhealthy comforts with healthier comforts. And, it's a trigger reward system. It's a cue reward system. Instead of doing the things that we used to do, we trade it for something more healthy. Because a healthy lifestyle not only changes your body, it also changes your mind and your attitude and your mood. So when we learn to change our healthy habits, our unhealthy habits to healthy ones, it really has a compounding effect, and it really does roll over. And you know what's amazing? When I started to do this, and it's never too late, that's coming up in one of these slides. Oh, actually, there you go. I didn't even plan that. You have unlimited amounts of do-overs. So it's never really too late to start over. I didn't start this health process, healthy mind, body, until about 7 years ago. My kids were probably grade school, junior high. And I didn't do everything correctly. There's a lot of things I did wrong, trying to transition, out of great motives. Sometimes I didn't do the right things. Sometimes I try to control. I remember this one time I tried to control my daughter's mood because she was in a bad mood. So I was like, well, let's figure out how to make you happy. Why don't we do this? Or maybe let's try this or that. And what I was doing was making things worse. I was trying to control her, and that was never good. And the more I tried to make her happy, the more upset that she got. So I reached out to my coach And he really recognized what I was doing. Even though my motives were good and I wanted to get her out of her bad mood, I was controlling her. And nobody likes to be controlled. Nobody likes to be told what to do. So what I had to do is apologize to her. I had to take responsibility for the fact that I was trying to control her, but I also set some boundaries and ground rules. And I said, I don't want to hear you whining and complaining and crying. You can do that in your room, whining about things that she was unhappy with. You can do that in your room, but I don't want to hear it. But when I apologized and I laid down the ground rules, guess what happened? She instantly changed and she instantly became happy. So sometimes we need to let go of our control as parents and just really listen to our kids. That's a lot of times, that's all they want. They want empathy, just like we do. They don't want us to fix it. They just want us to hear. So, and most of us react to all the circumstances around us. We were never taught how to manage our emotions or to deal with triggers. So, if someone fires things at us, even kids, we fire right back, or sometimes we fire first. Have you ever had to deal with that, where because you've grown up in a certain way or in a certain environment, that you're the one who fires the first shot? I've done that before, and that's not healthy either. And that's how I parented. But now I've learned to be responsive, and my kids have picked up on my healthy habits, eating, activities, and emotionally, and just by modeling things that I didn't know how to do before. So it's not like I had to tell them what to do. I just did it. Like when my 19-year-old son was living with me, and he was responsible for his own food. And he started, after a year coming home, he went to the grocery store and he filled up his, place in the refrigerator with ground turkey and yogurt and carrots. I was like, who is this kid? I didn't ask him to. He just decided that he wanted to do better for himself. So if you kind of feel like maybe you've blown it, maybe, you're a bad parent, or you did some damage to your kids, we all get do-overs, right? Unlimited, and it's never too late. Every morning you're born again. What we do today is what happens most. In fact, the only thing we have is today. So when we start worrying about the future, that causes stress. When we go to the past, that may cause regret or sadness. But if you focus on today and do your best for today, that is where you'll find peace. That is where you'll find contentment. And every morning you have two choices. Are you going to sleep with your dreams, or are you going to wake up and chase them? You have a choice. It's not always easy to make that choice, but gratitude is very transformative. So like I mentioned before, a lot of times stress and worry comes because we are anxious for the future that has not even happened and probably won't even happen. How many times have you been thinking about, maybe you're with your family, or maybe it's supposed to be a fun day and you're thinking about that test, or maybe the things that you need to do. You've really just robbed yourself of the time that you had with your family. Worrying about something is not going to give you the outcome that you want. So it's better to just be thankful and for where you are right in the moment. Because a lot of times right in the moment, there is no stress. We create it. We create worry, we create stress. It doesn't exist until we give power to it. So what if you were just like right now, you might be worried about something that you have to do, right? I have classes to teach later. There's a lot of things that I need to do. But if I'm worrying about that, then I'm not present, then I'm not grateful and thankful for the moment. So what if you were just present in the moment and thankful for what you have? So there were some times that, during the years after my divorce, the only thing I could be thankful for was my nice warm bed. And because I knew there were some people that didn't even have a nice warm bed. So whatever you can be thankful for, focus on that, because whatever you focus on, whatever you feed grows. If you feed negativity, guess what you're going to get? You're going to get more negativity. If you feed gratitude, you're going to get more gratitude. And gratitude is transformative. It can really change your mood. just like that. So I encourage you to try that. If you see yourself spiraling down into stress and negativity, maybe focusing on the past or the future, really try to center yourself to the moment and be aware of what you have, whatever that is. Even if, you're feeling bad physically, try to focus on something that is good. Which brings me to the other thing I guess they taught this in kindergarten, right? Rest is necessary and vital, but after a certain age, we stop taking rest, we stop taking naps. We start, we try to push ourselves. But did you know that sleep deprivation is a form of psychological torture? And it's often considered worse than going without food or water. It rapidly erodes emotions and self-confidence, resulting in erratic behavior. How many people recognize that? As parents, and especially, as parents who are working and also going to school, I would say probably sleep is the first thing to go. And for me, I need a good 8 hours of sleep. Even right now, I can tell I didn't get my full 8 hours, even though I went to bed at a good time. I had to get up extra early to teach a class in China, and I didn't really sleep. I'm drinking more water, that's great, but it also makes you get up a couple of times during the night. So not fully 8 hours rested. And I know that some people, they can go on 5 hours, but some people need 8. And did you know what the negative side effects of sleep deprivation are? It makes you more irritable. Your cognitive, right now, is impaired. Memory loss, impaired moral judgment, decreased creativity. In your heart, it can increase your heart rates, risk of heart disease and stroke. Your muscles, decreased accuracy or fine motor skills. In your gut, it can mess with your immune system and your digestion and all types of things. So sleep is very important. And sometimes just even carving out 10 to 12 minutes, sometimes I set the timer and I don't really fall asleep. But for some reason, my body just after I get that 12 minutes of rest where you're almost falling asleep and then you wake up, that I feel renewed and I feel invigorated. So don't neglect your rest and your sleep. And one other thing that I realized is that if I try to push like working late at night, it could take me 3 hours to get something done. Where if I had just rested and gotten to bed early and woke up early in the morning, then I could get it done in an hour. So pushing myself when I'm exhausted, I realized is not good. So I'm not very good at night working anymore because my brain is like, I'm done. But in the morning is where I find where I can focus. So figure out where you focus the best and schedule that for your high productivity. Can't even speak. If you work better at night, late at night, then those are the things, make sure that you do that type of studying or things where you need to really focus on your work, or if it's morning or maybe it's midday, whatever it is, carve out that time for you because it's really important. And if you feel discouraged, remember, you don't have to paddle every time, every second. Sometimes you can float and that's good enough. I don't know if you've ever gotten to the end of the day and so many things are left undone, especially with me taking care of my mom. I forgot to pay a bill, not because I didn't have the money. It's just because I was busy doing other things. And so it was a day late. Hopefully I won't get fined, but sometimes that's life. Sometimes you have to just do the next thing and be okay with not getting everything done. I wish I should probably put the Brené Brown quote up. I love her. If you can read any of her books or listen to her podcasts, I believe it's in The Gifts of Imperfection or one of her other books, Daring Greatly or Dare to Lead or something like that. She's like, at the end of the day, you just have to be, you just have to be okay with being good enough. Whatever you did, that's part of being that's part of the gratitude process. At the end of the day, don't worry about all the things you didn't do or all the things that you have to do. Just be okay what you did. And that's enough. And in fact, I program my Alexa to remind me these things. I have a saying that I listen to every night when I say, Alexa, good night. She says something to me like, today was a good day. Leave all your worries behind and sleep peacefully, knowing that you've done all you can, or tomorrow, or tomorrow's another day. And so every time, because sometimes we can't encourage ourselves, but there's so many cool things like Alexa you can do to program yourself to encourage yourself when you just don't have the energy. So I do that a lot. Make self-care a priority. Oh, I know. So I've just looked, whenever I say Alexa, Alexa comes on or whatever. Yes, that's so funny. I was just looking in the chat at the moment. Or when they say it on TV and then your Alexa goes off, it's crazy. Make self-care a priority. And isn't that pretty much what this whole entire talk is about? You need to take care of yourself, because you need to fill up your cup before you can serve someone else. So think about, I just traveled on vacation to Mexico, which I don't ever allow myself to do, but I decided, you know what? I deserve this. I have the money. I can take the money out of savings and I can recharge myself. And you know how they say you have to put the oxygen mask on yourself before someone else? That's what we need to do as parents, as human beings. But I'm so guilty of scrambling and taking care of everyone else's needs that I forget to take care of my own. I can't even tell you, there are certain things that I haven't even taken care of myself. I'm embarrassed to say, like I haven't been to the dentist in 7 years, which is crazy when you think about it. I've got great teeth, by the way, but I used to go every 6 months, but it's because I'm so busy. It didn't seem like a priority. Or my health, or going to the doctors. I'm too busy taking care of my kids and my parents, but they need us. So the last hard truth that I learned is no one is coming to your rescue. That took me years. I wanted someone to rescue me. I wanted someone to take care of me, and someone did in my marriage, except it came at a price, came at, an emotional price. You are responsible for your life and no one is going to rescue you. And that was a hard truth that when I finally realized it, I was able to move forward in so many areas of my life, because I kept blaming everyone else. I wanted everyone else to. Did you ever be around someone, or were you ever that person just grumbling and complaining about everything? If only, or there's just so many bad habits that we pick up along the way. But when you realize, and this is part of my program, that you are in charge of what happens, that you get to create your story, that you can be open and curious, you can help others get better. You're empowered, the empowerment triangle. You are in the middle of your own journey. You know how there's a hero in every story? Well, you're the hero of your story. You don't have to have anyone rescue you, because everything that you need can be learned if it's not already inside of you. And now I want to turn the tables a little bit, and I want you to think about your own self, your own life. Are you living the kind of life that you want? Now, I know you guys are already, your parents. So you might have been parents by choice. You might have not been parents by choice, but everything, you wouldn't trade your kids for anything, right? So, but whatever situation you're in, you've decided to go to school to do better for yourself, do better for your family, do better for your future. But are you living the life that you really want to live? Or are you just surviving? Are you thriving or surviving? So 7 years ago, I was surviving, and I had to do whatever I could to get to the point of thriving. Now I feel like I'm on the cusp of thriving. Honestly, sometimes we don't know what life's going to throw our way. If I didn't have to take care of my mom, who I'm the only one that is present really, I would definitely be thriving, because I would have time, I would have money, I would be able to be doing more of the things that you see here, but that's not the case right now. So yeah, I could abandon my mom, right? Just let her fend for herself, throw her in a home, whatever, but I can't do that. And so I'm choosing to live my best life with the cards I've been dealt. And it's exhausting, it's tiring, but I've learned that I am responsible for my life. And if I have the ability to make choices. So I started dancing again. So I go to a dance studio where I'm taking jazz, and tonight I might be doing contemporary for the first time. It's just for adults. So it's great. I gave up dancing when I was 15, and I started dancing about 10 years ago. I started ballroom dancing. I love the water. I was from New York, but I've lived, by the ocean, 3 miles from the ocean. I lived in Oklahoma for 30 years and I was never out on the lake. I only started getting out on the lake kayaking, and I learned to sail last summer. So I know how to sail a boat all by myself. Rock climbing, hiking. So whatever it is now, can't do all these things the way I would like, as often as I would like, but I'm still putting things into my day, or my week, I should say, or my month, where I can at least have little bits of joy, things that bring me joy on top of the responsibility. No, I don't have my own kayak, but I have friends who have their kayaks. So join groups, seek, rock climbing. And I'll offer this to people. I can actually take, if you've never gone rock climbing before, I can take you for free. So if you want to learn that, I would be happy to help you do that. It's not easy. And I don't even love it, but I do it for the challenge. It's mentally, emotionally, and physically challenging. So I do it for more the challenge. There's a lot of other things I want to do. But let's dig a little deeper. And this is where you guys, it's interactive right now, and I'll be checking the chat, but it's more for you. It's more, what do they call it? Rhetorical as well. So, currently, what is your, what is your present self like? Your present state of health, I should say. You need to recognize where you are, and then where you want to go to create the structural tensions, which is the catalyst for change that we have, previously discussed. Well, some of the things that we've discussed. This is from my programs that I teach. So you might be juggling everything. Everything's kind of crazy. You might be just surviving, but if you want to get to the point of thriving, you have to really analyze where you are right now. So who is responsible for your current health and well-being? It should be you, right? So you really are responsible. But take a look at your overall health, your body, your mind, whatever you consider part of your healthy being. What is one area of health that is really working for you, that you're doing great? Are you drinking your water? Are you eating, to nourish your body throughout the day, or you're just eating, grabbing, random things? Are you getting some healthy movement in? Do you park at the far end of the campus to get more steps in? What are you doing that's working? And a lot of the activities I do are very physical. So I go dancing. I could dance for 3 hours. Actually, I went to the 80s prom. I danced for 4 hours straight. I was like exhausted at the end of the night. But, healthy habits of movement doesn't have to be going to the gym. I didn't go to the gym for about 2 years, and I was still able to lose weight and be healthy. I just want to take my health to the next level. So the big question is, what is one area of your health that is not working? So what is one area of your health that you would like to change? Now, what is your certain future? If there's an aspect of your emotional health, your physical health, whatever, your spiritual health, your financial health, if you continue to do nothing in this area, what is your uncertain future? For me, physically, I met my health coach in 2019. This was a picture I had got to go to Israel with my daughter for her senior trip. And I was not in great shape. We climbed mountains. We walked the deserts. It was grueling on my body. I was 25 pounds heavier, but 2020, I was the same because I did nothing. So this is your certain future if you do nothing physically, emotionally, mentally. For years, I really did try, we went to counseling for my marriage. I went to parenting classes, but there was something blocking. That wasn't enough. It's not like I didn't try. I just needed something else. I needed some breakthrough. And I kept trying until I found it. So whether you're doing something now to change your future in one of these areas, or you've decided to do nothing, keep going forward, keep moving forward. I made this little meme years ago because how many times do you have to, and this was my own thought, how many times do you have to run into the same wall before you remember it's there? It's always been there, and it will always be there. How many times are, you're going to run into whatever wall it is, whatever's blocking you from getting to the other side. Now, sometimes you know what it is and sometimes you don't. If you continue to do nothing, your future is your future is going to be what you have now. So everyone who's gone to school, you're creating a new future. But what about other areas of your life? What about your parenting skills? What about your physical well-being? What about your emotional well-being, spiritual, financial? You're working towards that with your education. So that's great too. So now I want you to think about what's missing that if you had it would make a difference. Is it education? Is it support? This group is a great support for what you deal with as parents who are students as well. But is there something else that's missing that would make a difference? I knew that I needed a coach to help me get healthy because I couldn't do it on my own. I tried and I failed. I knew that I needed to take programs that would, really help change my mindset. And so I sought that out. So what is missing in your life? And I want to encourage everyone who's here or watching this, discover what you really want. And more importantly, why you want it. Why do you want to create what you want? Why do you want what you want? Why you want what you want has to be bigger than the obstacles, has to be big enough to get you over that wall, or maybe, be like Hulk and bust through that wall one way or the other, get over the wall, get through the wall, whatever you need. Because once you figure out what your why is, and it's big enough to get you over that wall, then you'll learn how to create a new life on the other side of that wall, whatever it is that you want. And so, I have a mother to take care of. So the life that I thought I was going to lead at this stage in my life is different, but it doesn't have to be bad. It could be good. And I'm creating, that mother who was reactive, I did not have a great relationship with my mother up until, probably 5 to 7 years ago. But now it's great because I've learned. There were a time that, I would never think I would be doing what I was doing for her and with her. And we get along great and we laugh all the time, and it looks nothing like it was. And I wouldn't have been able to do that unless I put myself first. And I decided in order for me to give to my family, I would have to take care of myself. So you are the dominant force in your life. You are the one who's going to change your future. Nobody's coming to your rescue. Your willingness to unlearn all the unhealthy cycles now is helping you build the life that you desire, not just for yourself, but for your future. And do you know what? My mom always told me I was going to break the cycle of divorce. Guess what? I didn't, but that wasn't the cycle that I was supposed to break. The cycle was unhealthy behaviors that made me make that unhealthy choice. So I did break the cycle, and my kids are learning. So I want you to say, today, I have the power to change my story, because you do. You have the power to change your story. You need to decide what kind of life you actually want, then say no to everything that isn't that life. Now, it's hard when my friends are going to all these dance events or kayaking, all the things that I love to do. And I can't go to them all because my vision is for my financial future. I know I'm going to have to take care of my mom. I know her finances are going to run out. And if I, am blind, or I choose not to focus on that, then it's going to cause me more pain down the road. Now, I'm very mindful of the future. I'm not worried. I'm not stressed, but I am trying to do the actions today that's going to get me where I want to be tomorrow. In fact, I probably should have shown this a little bit earlier. I'm still working on life balance. And when I was going through the hardest part of, after my divorce, I realized that my life was very unbalanced. And this is a journal that I'm creating. And I'm going to give a bunch, people a bunch of information in the chat box right now too. If you want to find more or contact me about anything, I'll just start putting things in there. But I created this life balance journal for me because I realized that when I focused on my business or my work, that sometimes I was neglecting my family. And when I focused on my family, sometimes I was neglecting my social life. And so this life balance journal is really to help me track which areas of my life I am spending too much time on so that I could readjust. I'm still putting it together, but I'm really excited. I'm still working out the kinks, and you can find it on Amazon, hopefully in a month or two. But if you want to know about that or some other resources that I will be having, in the chat box is where you can contact me and sign up for newsletters and everything like that. And I'm so excited that I got to speak with you today, because I'm offering until May 9th. So you might want to get this information out quickly to all the people who want to see this. I'm offering a $90 scholarship off for the first month of my coaching program, which is amazing. So a lot of the things that you saw me screenshot, they're all in this program. And it's available until May 9th for new clients. I will put some more stuff here. I'll just do this right here. It's not till the end of the month, available until May 9th. So if you want more information, the place to start is with a health assessment. I need to know what your goals are. Also, I'll put some information too in a little bit on where you can follow me. So everything I put on social media is public. And in the past, I was very reactive, you know, how social media is very easy to be reactive and just complain about everything. Now I'm very mindful of what I put out there. I want whatever I put out there to be encouraging, even if it's encouraging and authentic. So you'll see yesterday I hit a wall, I just hit an exhaustion wall, and I put it out there because I know that there's so many other people that are in my shoes that understand what I'm going through. I'm not going to make it seem like everything is great and amazing, but I'm also not going to, I'm not going to sugarcoat the journey, but I'm also going to give people, give you hope through my journey, hopefully. So that's what I have for you. I just want to also just reiterate how this has been amazing that you guys have, you do things in life, you put yourself out there, and it's like, okay, is anyone getting anything from it? And I'm just so blessed that my struggle has been able, and my journey of healing and, bettering myself can encourage someone else. So I'm putting all my social media stuff there where you can follow me, and hopefully be encouraged and interact with me. But if there's any questions, I know we just have a couple of people here. So anyone else who's watching, feel free. You can, message me on Facebook, email, whatever. I respond to everything. But if there's any questions here, I'd be happy to answer some questions.
Thank you so much, Coach Conroy. Yeah, so we still have a few minutes, and this is so informational, and it's a recharging process for myself too. So thank you. I've been practicing what you said and trying to take a deep breath, de-stress. And yeah, I mean, we would like to invite you back and in the future, because it's you're so resourceful for us and a good coach. So
Absolutely.
Thank you.
We love it.
So did you say there's a book drawing? I think we have 2 participants today. We might just ask them. I mean, everybody would love to have your book. So, but I'll give them the chance to see who would like what.
Yeah. And so I didn't know how you wanted to do that. If you just wanted to have it for the people that showed up, or maybe I might even have another one if people want to watch the video. So if you want to just randomly draw a name and then get me the information where I can mail it to someone, or, maybe deliver it in person, who knows, maybe have coffee. That would be fun.
Thank you.
Thank
for
you,
being so.
And Sarah and everyone.
Yes. Janica, you're graduating. So we will have a chance to invite Coach Conroy back. I now have her phone number. So Janica, would you like to have this book as a gift for your graduation?
That would be awesome. However, I think it's only fair we do the raffle drawing.
Okay, so let me see if I have this on this one. Okay, let's see.
We could just wait a couple days to see who's all watched the video, who fills out that survey link.
Yeah, I think that would be a good incentive, because if they know there's a prize, if they watch and fill out a link, and maybe, that'll encourage them to watch the video, maybe.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'll
I
send you, there's an Amazon link. Now I don't even get any, I don't get any money from this book, like the Amazon link, because it's out of print. I just contributed to it, but I can put a link. And so you can see more about what the book's about. So that's what
Okay, great. And let me see. So, Janica, if you don't mind, you can just send in the group me, send it to students and see who might be interested. I have the drawing here. I have the tool, the big spin here. Let me see.
Okay, so I just put that in the chat box, and I think you could still buy it. It's just hard to get a hold of. Honestly, every time I see it online, I buy it on Amazon because I know I contributed to the book. So I'm always buying my own book.
We look for, and we can also request a TCC library to order them. Yeah. So we got 4 canvases. Let me see. Ruffle. Okay, I don't know how.
Hey, Joy.
Okay. Yes. Do you want to do it now?
Well, I was going to suggest
we can wait. Okay.
And see who all fills out the survey link that you put in the chat. That way we can include them in the drawing too.
Okay, now you're in charge.
I think
now you're in charge. Yeah. So yes, and just make sure we can also request that to our library to purchase that. Yeah. Okay. So that's a good idea. And any other agenda? So I guess Jonica and Sarah, you may still stay just for a few minutes. It's 1 o'clock. And thank you so much, Coach Conroy.
Yeah.
And we appreciate you. And
thank you. I appreciate
your inspiration.
Yep. Anytime. All right. We'll see you. Bye-bye, everyone.
See you.
Congratulations, Monica. Bye.
Bye.